Hello, it's Mrs. Glasson, and today I'd like to tell you about my mock tests. You can go to www.mrsglasson.com and you can find out all about them there. You can also read the reviews written by parents of students who have taken the tests. So, written by me, I believe they represent a very unique educational opportunity for all 11+ children who are hoping to pass the 11+ this year. If your children have taken mock tests elsewhere, then my mock tests with their accompanying English lessons are a perfect opportunity not only to learn but also to progress before the real 11+ exams. So let me tell you how they are just like the real 11+ exams, and then I'm going to tell you a significant way in which they are different. So my tests, just like the real 11+ tests, are based on Key Stage 2 English skills. The asterisk referring to this weighty document, which you know I like to have about my person at all times, but you can find it on the internet in a much more accessible form, parents, the National Curriculum for English. My tests are written by a former, grammar school English teacher. As you know, I worked at 2 top grammar schools. Written by a former 11+ examiner. So I really know the 11+ exam, and again, I don't mean in terms of questions, that they change from year to year, but that's the same of any English exam. I know the skills. I know how to translate this into meaningful lessons because I'm an English teacher and an English tutor, but more significantly, I know how to translate that into assessments. And assessments that are meaningful for 11+ students because they are written at the correct level for selective entry, and that is so important. Let me just tell you a little bit about what I mean. And this is where my mock tests are unique. Unless you have worked in a grammar school, unless you have taught English in a grammar school, then how can you know the correct level at which to pitch your tests? So, as you know, I worked at 2 top grammar schools. I have taught hundreds of Year 7 children, so I know exactly where your children need to be going. I have also taught many successful 11+ students nationally because I take the teach skills, not schools, teach skills, not questions approach, which real English teachers, so by that I mean English teachers with English degrees and teaching qualifications who are subject specialists and work in schools, that's the approach that we take. So therefore, I would say that my take on 11+ assessment is rather unique, and it's really important because you need to know the correct level for selective entry. Parents, some teacher training, formative assessment, summative assessment. So the summative assessment is the one that takes place at the end, the actual A-level English exam, the actual GCSE English exam. In this context, the actual 11+ exams, the ones that take place at the end. So the assessments that take place before that, for them to be of any use to you and for them to inform your learning, they are formative assessments. They should be acting as diagnostic tools. They should elucidate and highlight for you what needs to be learned. So they should be really acting as targets for improvement before the summative exam. My mock tests come with outstanding English lessons. I will teach your child skills, I will teach your child vocabulary, I will talk about comprehension. In mock test 2, I even provide a reading list and methods for reading and a SPAG book as well that I really recommend. But the main thing is, this is what makes my mock tests different. They can act as formative assessments. They can show you and your child areas for improvement so that you can work on those areas before the actual test. So assessment for learning. And it's also worth saying that just like with my other exam classes, English A-level, GCSE, I have deliberately written the tests with assessment for learning in mind. So I have written them to be learning opportunities, to be diagnostic tools, and so they are of great use to you and your children before the actual 11+ exams. And before you go to my website and read the lovely reviews, here is an overview. So mock test 2 is the standard answer mock test. Multiple answer comparative mock test, that's mock test 3. And just for your information, mock test 1A is the standard answer mock test, that's part of the foundation course. And mock test 1B is the single and multiple answer comparative and standard mock test that's part of the 11+ revision course. But let's just go to the website and let me show you. And here is the mock test 2 landing page. You can read all about mock test 2 there. There's a long video also which explains how the test was written and tells you a little bit about the English lesson. Oh yes, the 70-minute English lesson. Likewise for mock test 3. And don't forget to take the 11+ revision quiz first. So I hope you will agree, my mock tests are valuable learning opportunities, assessment for learning at its finest. When you go to www.mrsglasson.com, you can also find out about my 11+ revision course. Take the 11+ revision quiz. I believe that my 11+ revision course is essential revision for all 11+ students. And if you do enrol, I look forward to meeting you in our live Zoom session when I will advise on reading, study materials. I will also answer any questions that you might have about the course or about 11+ English. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.